Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these few commercial breaks.
Do you want to speak to people across the country, including illegal immigrants?
Like Rachel?
Now you can. Our newest product from Vandelay Industries is finally here. It's the telephone, created by Alexander Graham Bell. The phone allows you to speak to anyone, anywhere. Call your friends, call your family, even speak internationally.
Hello? Is this Will Cameron? It's new, so it's tough to use, but I'm sure as we move along, it'll be easier to use. I don't know where to put my ear or anything.
You can purchase this product at any convenience store.
Hello? Is this the IRS? I'm not an illegal immigrant, but Rachel is. She's not here. She's probably at Tito's Burritos, because they make Mexican food, and she's an illegal immigrant. Tito's Burritos, actually, their cheese fries are huge. It's like $4, but I'm telling you right now, it's literally, it's like, do you have a bowl? No, but, yeah, here. It's like, basically, if you take this and filled it with fries and cheese and some tin foil to keep the heat in, that's like how much cheese fries they give you.
You can also hang up on people whenever you want.
The sports section is covered by our new Ginger member, Brendan Dowling.
Hi, I'm Lauren, and I robbed this outfit off a homeless guy. I'm here to report about Red Grange, the Galloping Ghost. On October 21st, 1927, he galloped all over, I don't know who he played. He played for Illinois, and in the first quarter, he scored 4 touchdowns. In the third quarter, he scored another touchdown. In the fourth, he passed for 1. So he scored 6 touchdowns in one game. He galloped over them like Rachel galloped over the border. So, coming out of college, he was the best football player in the country. And George Halas, the coach of the Chicago Bears, said, hey, I want you to play for the Chicago Bears. So, what he did was, to incentivize him, the SAT word, to incentivize Red Grange to play for the Bears, he scheduled a 12-game 67-day domestic tour to play football. What they would do is they would have a field, and just literally just an open field, and what they would do is they get carpenters to come, and they'd set up like bleachers for people to come, and he ended up making $100,000 in 12 games, and the normal salaries for professional football at that time were less than $100 a game. So that's a lot of money. But what happened was, with George Halas, he ended up getting in a fight with him, so he formed his own league called the American Football League. This is before the one with Joe Namath and those guys. He formed his own league for 1 year, but then they had financial troubles. So, after 1 year, he played for the New York Yankees, by the way. It was a football team, not a baseball team. But, so, only for 1 year. So the NFL got him. They assimilated, another SAT word, they assimilated Red Grange and the New York Yankees into the NFL. And what happened was, he was playing against the Chicago Bears, and he hurt his knee, and didn't play the entire 1928 season. So, because his knee hurt him. So what happened was, after that, he kind of lost his cutting ability, and he wasn't as good of a running back, but he was still a good defensive back. And in the 1933 championship game, while playing for the Chicago Bears against the New York Giants at the Polo Grounds, the Giants running back broke through the line, and at this point it was 33-31 in the game. The Giants running back broke through the line, and Red Grange, and there's Mel Hine, who was also a charter member of the NFL. He was their center for the Giants, who wore number 60. He was running behind a running back whose name evades me. He was running, and he had to tackle him so he couldn't lateral it. So he grabbed him around the shoulders so he couldn't move his arms. And he's a big guy. So he grabbed him around the arms. Grabbed him around the arms and tackled him. And George Halas, who was coaching at that point, he wasn't playing for the Bears anymore, he was coaching, said that was the best defensive play he'd ever seen. And at the same time, supposedly, the other coach said was also the best play he'd ever seen. So Red Grange was really one of the best players ever in the NFL. He's a charter member of the Hall of Fame, won several championships with the NFL, and helped to popularize it. He was a superstar for the NFL. And that's it for sports. There were other sports, but I only talked about football. So, back to Lauren and the illegal.
Back to Brendan Dowling with breaking news.
Hi, I'm Brendan, and I'm doing a story about Emiliano Zapata. He was a Mexican rebel leader during, like 1910, and from humble beginnings as a mestizo, which means he was half native, half Mexican. His dad was Mexican, his mom was like a Native American. Humble beginnings. He was born the 9th out of 10 children in a middle-class family. His dad was a farmer. And there was a president, his name was Porfirio Diaz. And what happened was, he was allowing various, almost like the feudal systems back in the Dark Ages, he was allowing haciendas, they were called, where they would basically have like large, not corporations, but wealthy people would buy out the land of the people that lived there, and they would make them workers, sort of like slaves. And Zapatista, he wasn't a fan. And while initially he was a peripheral pata, which it was called, that's actually what it was called, and that's like people who supported him, he, along with his brothers and sisters, they didn't like that. So what happened was in 1910, they joined forces with
Francisco Madero.
And this is a guy that was going to oppose Diaz. Now, Diaz was a democratically elected president, but he wasn't good at his job. He was enslaving the people, sort of. So he joined with that guy. And essentially, through various battles, they ended up overthrowing Diaz. But then, when Madero got in charge, he did the same exact thing. So Zapata formed a group of the indigenous people, and they formed their own army called the Zapatistas. And they fought for their freedom, and they beat Madero, and they got their land back, and it was almost socialist in a way, because everyone kind of helped each other out. So that was a very interesting thing that happened in Mexico, around like 1911 this happened. And I have a feeling, I don't know, because I'm not from the future or everything, but in 1994, on January 1st, I have a feeling that there's going to be a new army called the Emiliano Zapata Liberación Nacional, or ESLN, that's going to arise in Mexico and do essentially the same thing, fight for their land, because as a result of NAFTA, they're going to, NAFTA's going to make the land go to large corporations, and they're going to overthrow the people that live there. So they're going to fight back. And basically that's dedicated to Zapata because of what he did. Back to them.
Thank you, Brendan.
¿Qué tiene cosa caramba? English. Sorry.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Well, in a room in America.
Which oh god, this
No.
And his dad died when he was only 17 years old. So like, that's a lot. Remember the Titans, how he took care of his brothers and sisters. He did the same thing. Except that was all fake.
He didn't exist yet.
So he's not around. Waited like 70 years. But so
It is believed that.
Thanks, guys.
it's like Diaz. No, I restart because I found the name.
I'll start now.
Yes.
Well, we should probably just redo that now. Some couldn't wait for the elevate. No.
You need help, Brendan.
I can Secretary of State. States. Singular.
Go ahead.
Washington, D.C. And it's set on
No immigrants. No immigrants. ¡Ah! ¡Inmigrante! There's something Spanish.